Hey, for today, I wanted to have a conversation, between friends about how I store my fabric. You may have noticed that I'm posting videos that are sewing related, and a friend of mine reached out and asked me how I store my fabric. And I knew my answer was going to be a little unexpected. Definitely not the normal advice on how to store fabric, and maybe for some people, controversial. So I told her I'd make a video about it. Back in the day, I used to have tons of fabric. I would go to the fabric store thinking that I was just going to buy one or two cuts of fabric, maybe two tops or a top and a pants, fabric, a top and a skirt, or maybe even just a dress. And I'd walk out with 10 cuts of fabric because it's so easy to walk into the fabric store and see fabric that you love. I love looking at fabric, touching the fabric, imagining what I might make with the fabric. And it's just so easy to pile them all up in your arms or in the shopping cart and take them up to the cutting table. It's absolutely easy to walk out of the fabric store with a complete haul. And then I would come home with my new haul, even though I already had fabric from the two or three previous hauls in my house. And I wouldn't have enough space to store things. I would stuff them in closets or under bed or in boxes and, put them up in the shelves in the closet and sort of never see them again. And what I found was that my fabric habit was stressing me out. I didn't have enough space and to store everything. And then when I gathered it all into one spot and looked at it all, I was completely overwhelmed. Maybe I didn't like the fabric anymore. I wasn't into that color palette anymore. Or maybe I had bought the fabric because I liked the fabric, but I couldn't think of something to make out of it. Maybe it's a really beautiful fabric for a formal outfit, but I live more of a casual lifestyle. So what ended up happening was the amount of fabric I had on hand was actually stressing me out and creating a lot of anxiety. Just looking at the fabric made me feel guilty, disorganized, sort of disgusted with myself for having all of this fabric that I couldn't possibly sew within a reasonable amount of time, and some of which I was no longer even excited about sewing. And so what I decided to do was do a thorough purge of my stash. And so I took several weekends, longer than I had hoped, to painfully sort through all of the fabric and identify what I could reasonably sew within the next 12-month period of time and what I was willing to let go of to bless someone else's life. Because I decided that if I wasn't going to sew it, realistically sew it, not dream of sewing it, but realistically sew it, then I really needed to donate it to a charity shop or thrift shop or another organization that would actually use that fabric and put it to good use. Because it was beautiful fabric and I didn't want it to go wasted. And it was wasted under the bed, on the closet shelves, or, stuffed in other closets and nooks and crannies. So I really did a very, very thorough purge. And so everything that you see here in this closet is my entire fabric stash. This is it. There's nothing stuffed under the bed over there, or in the closet shelf over there, or downstairs in a cupboard. It's all right here. And this serves a couple of purposes. When I come to look at this stash, I'm not visually overwhelmed. I have ADHD, and one of my symptoms, everybody's different, is that I have sensory overload. So if I look at something and there's too many visual elements, too many colors, too many designs, I feel visually overwhelmed and then my brain sort of stopped working. My eyes roll back in my head. I'm on overload and I'm sort of paralyzed. And I experience anxiety and I don't know what to sew next. So I've learned over time that by getting rid of too much fabric, too many colors, too many designs, too many choices, and paring it down, I feel relaxed about my sewing and my creativity can come out and I can create something that I really love and that's beautiful. I'm no longer beating myself up for buying fabric that I don't like anymore. I don't have an outfit idea for. It doesn't go with my lifestyle or my current wardrobe anymore. I've really pared it down to just this. And that works for me. But since so many of the videos out there about how to organize your fabric or how to store your fabric are about how to maintain or organize a large fabric stash, I thought that maybe there might be a few people out there like me who find that a large fabric stash is overwhelming and that it's just too much to look at. and that it doesn't create peace and a space of creativity and a place to kind of escape from the world, that it creates self doubt, frustration, anxiety, and maybe guilt. And so if you're in that space, just know that that's okay. Any way of storing fabric is probably okay. And you need to find what works for you. Just like what I found works for me might be different than what works for you, but it might be similar. There's so many videos out there about how to store and organize huge fabric stashes that I just wanted to provide another option. That if you do have a huge fabric stash and it is causing you stress and anxiety and frustration, it's okay. Everybody's been there. Most of us have done it multiple times in my case, but it's okay. You're not a serial killer and you're not blowing up buildings. We assume. And it's okay to just give yourself some grace and give yourself some space. Take whatever time you need to edit your stash to a level that works for you. I want my fabric to all be in one place so that I can see all of my options at once. That maybe doesn't work for you. Maybe you like having it in three different places. Maybe you like home decor in your daughter's bedroom closet and outdoor pillow fabric, in your closet up on a shelf. All I'm trying to say is there's lots of ways to store fabric. There's lots of ways to be honest about whether or not you have a tendency to buy too much fabric. And there's lots of ways to give away fabric that you're ready to let go of to bless someone else's life. So the purpose of this video is not to say my way is right or to show anything off and say you need to do it just like me. The purpose of the video is to give you encouragement to create space for yourself that makes you feel good about sewing, that makes you feel relaxed and creative and validated in who you are as a person. Because only you can empower yourself to sew with the creativity that's trying to get out.